everybody, I'm Cinnamon Coney at ArtSherpa, and today we're doing the Q&A all about Acrylic April. Acrylic April is a really fantastic idea that I had last year at the behest of another creator in Jackson who really encouraged me to go for this, to create a month for the acrylic painting community that's kind of like Inktober or Doodle Wash, where we do a daily painting challenge. I'm so happy that it's been adopted with my own community so well, but I'm also excited to be telling YouTube and Instagram and artists just at large about this, because this isn't just for me. This is for all of us. This is for the acrylic painting community. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey, guys.
He is going to be helping me with like all the particulars and the technicalities of doing a live stream, as he always does. And he's also going to be catching your questions. Now, we do have an FAQ in our Acrylic April Facebook group. And it's going to be on the website and everything really soon. If you check the description below, the rules to the event are there, as well as some more informational links. And we're going to have the FAQ up on the website really soon. So I'm so excited about this. If you are somebody besides myself, because you guys know I'm going to be doing a daily live painting from April 1st to April 30th with you. But if you're somebody else and you're a creator or you're an artist and you're doing something, definitely shout out in the comments. Let us know in the comments down below. I promise I will get them out of YouTube jail if you get filtered. But let us know what you're doing, because I think this is something that could get really big the way that Inktober got big, and be something great for our medium to really showcase how fantastic it is, because I really think acrylic is probably the most versatile art medium that there is. It like can be anything. It can be watercolor, it can be like an oil painting, it can just be like anything. So I'm pretty excited that this has happened. Are you excited, John?
Yes.
I made him do all the work, so I don't really know how excited he is. So this is the FAQ, because many of you have questions. I'm here to answer any of them for like the next 30 minutes or so, 30 minutes.
Just
So
real quick.
Hit me with them.
Okay, well, just real quick. Edna and Patsy would just like to let you know you look ab-fab. So.
Oh my gosh.
You're
Christian Lacroix, darling. Christian Lacroix. No, it's not Christian Lacroix. I was having an ab-fab moment. If you watched that show, that was funny. If you didn't, that made no sense. Which is like my whole deal.
Yep.
It's if you're in the know, it's funny, and if it's not, it's like, oh, that lady's so weird.
We aren't even going to talk about the Manolos in the closet. So, all right, let's move on.
I don't have any Manolos. Who walks in heels anymore? So myself personally, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be making sure that our Facebook group stays really friendly and cool. Obviously, my team and myself have a lot of experience with Facebook groups, so we felt like we could curate a very good, positive community. You can come in there, you can join. It's different than some of the other Sherpa spaces, but what it has in common with every other space that I've ever overseen is that it's a safe space. So it's inclusive and it's tolerant. This project is open to anyone at any level of art. You can be a brand new artist and you can do this. You can be a very advanced artist and you can do this wherever you're at in your relationship to the medium acrylic, which is the restriction. You must be painting in acrylic. Everybody's really welcome.
Okay, so Ross has got a really good one.
Hi, Ross.
Okay, so I've actually not heard of this before. She said, could you do an acrylic stain on your canvas before you do a painting?
Yes, you can. But it must be a raw linen, and you probably ought to use a sulficant like Flow-Aid by Golden.
Okay, so I've been here for a couple
years. I know a
years.
lot about my medium.
Yeah, I've been here for a couple years, and I've never even heard of acrylic stain. So this is cool.
So this is a really cool thing. The whole reason that particular sulficant, which is only supposed to be available to professional artists because it can be dangerous, is that it breaks down the surface tension of the water, making that staining process that you're talking about so much easier. But yes, staining is allowed, airbrushing is allowed. If you're painting with acrylic spray paint, you are super welcome. We think you're awesome. If you're doing a watercolor style with your acrylic, we just want it to be about acrylic painting, but that's really you could be like piping it out like frosting. It's just about acrylic. But other than that, all the versions of acrylic could be ink. There's so many kinds of acrylic, aren't there? It's really like everything. It's in so many states, kind of like water.
Well, then
water has many states too.
There's that stuff that's gouache.
There's acrylic gouache.
And then there's acrylic gouache, and like gouache is sort of like intemperate.
Not all gouache is acrylic though, so we're watching you.
Tempera isn't acrylic, is it?
No, tempera is not acrylic.
It's something
But there are
different.
some paints that are sometimes called poster paints that are acrylic.
that are like tempera paints.
That are like that, but are not tempera paints because they're acrylic.
That's right.
It's really about pigment and a polymer emulsion is what we're really talking about, right? Polymer emulsions come in many viscosities. They come in like thin viscosities that you can aerosolize, like in a spray paint or an airbrush. They come in thick viscosities, like you would use for impasto. They do everything.
So Susan had a good question here. If using acrylic paper or watercolor paper, 140 pound, do you need to do anything to prep it, like gesso?
So here's what this is. Gesso is a nice surface. It's a nice ground, and it gives you a tooth. You've got a lot of tooth going on with the paper. What you're going to find is that paper with acrylic is super thirsty. So you may want to put an acrylic, like the acrylic gesso on it, just to have that happen to the gesso instead of your paints. You're not working so hard, but it's not strictly necessary. And if you don't put gesso on it, you can do a watercolor effect with your acrylic, which I often like to do, like do washes first and then build up thicker layers. But you may want to tape it down so it doesn't buckle if you're doing very wet effects. I love my medium.
Yes.
It's a cool thing. I do. I think acrylic is just awesome sauceum. I would have all of it. All the brands, all the colors, all the time. Whew, I'm so excited. I know my mom, Ginger Cook Live, is going to do some stuff. I know that I have some friends, Stephanie and Ian Jackson and Angela Green. I know Sweet Little Designs is doing some stuff.
No.
I know MWB Arts is doing some stuff. So I know there's some artists out there. Stephanie Ishler is doing some stuff. So there's some people I know are going to bring it for Acrylic April already.
We have so many questions coming in here.
And Silver Creek Studios. Leanne.
So many questions.
Leanne's going to come and do something, she said. And so I'm super excited. I'm not holding you that, girl, though. So if you get tired and you're like, no, I can't do it, it's okay.
All right. So CRC would like to know.
Hi, CRC.
Is there going to be prompts?
I am. So this is very much modeled after Inktober. I really liked how Parker created a community for ink artists. I mean, he had the idea, but it was really about showcasing that community and what that medium could do. So we looked at that as a way to architect this monthly challenge. So we will have prompts, but they're optional. It's like my daily live lessons. You could come paint with me every day live. My students probably will. But you could also just do your own thing, or you could use my very awesome prompts, which are going to be released the 25th of March.
So Terry, this is a good question. Terry paints with Liquitex. Do you have a way of translating your selection of paints to other brands?
Yes.
Okay.
So in the group, you've probably seen a lot of files that give you the exact hand selections from many, many different paint lines.
Yeah.
But this is basically what it is. If you're painting with me, you're going to be painting off of a split primary palette, which means that I'm going to be showing you a warm and cool option for your primary. So I have a cool yellow. That means I have a green bias yellow. And I have a warm yellow. That means I have a red bias yellow. And I have a cool red. That's a blue bias red. And a warm red. That's a yellow bias red. See how that's kind of going? And then I have my ultramarine and my phthalo. So when you're painting with another paint line, if you cannot find my crazy yellow color that I am in love with, Nickel Tighten It is like the best yellow. I think that's PY53 in pigment code, and it's the best. But if you can't get it, any Hansa Yellow Light, Ozo Yellow Light, Lemon Yellow, Cad Yellow Light, these are all green biased yellows. So you can go into any paint line and say, all right, well, I need something like a Cad Medium or Hansa, right? Just a base, primary warm yellow. And then you're going to want to find a cool bias. And generally in most paint lines, those are labeled as light or lemon. There's a couple other cool colors that aren't labeled like that, like Tighten It, which for some crazy reason that is designed to make my life miserable, but also educate me a great deal, is that they sometimes like to call it Naples yellow, but Naples yellow is not Nickel Tighten It yellow. It's a Band-Aid color. So a lot of companies make a Naples yellow that is the color of a Band-Aid. And then the color I like, which is PY53, Nickel Tighten It, is this really cool green yellow, which is the coolest green yellow that there is. It's a weird thing. So if that's all too stressful, just get a Hansa Yellow Light or Cad Yellow Light, Cad Yellow Light Hue. Any of that's good.
Can you grab that paint? Really grab it right there.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to be using, you're painting with a paint that we haven't seen you use a lot here, have you?
Yeah, no. So I'm going to be painting with a line by Senlier. Senlier is a fantastic art house. They make a lot of great art products. You may know them from their Watercolors, if you love watercoloring, you love honey-based watercolor, you might be very familiar with the pastels or the oil paints. They are kind of the paint company of all, like Picasso and all the great romantic artists. They just recently had come out with this line of economy paints, but they use a lot of the same pigments that they use in their pro line, and they managed to get the cost down without completely decimating the quality of the paint. This is essentially my problem with many student paints, is that by the time they get the cost down, it's completely decimated. So I was really excited about this. The cost was reasonable. It was kind of available globally as much as any brand is. Mm-hmm. And it had nice equivalencies. The only weird elements that I had in it was this, because they also call this Naples yellow, but it's actually not. It's a hue. Funny story. But it's still essentially the same color, so you're okay. And then the red I ended up using was the vermilion, and that's because it was the closest to a naphthol red medium.
I got to make you go back. So you just sort of that whole thing. That is, you said it's what color?
So they call it Naples yellow, but really it's the same. It's a hue of PY53, which is nickel titanate. But PBO, Amsterdam, and Senlier, nickel titanate, a little expensive. So what they do is they do a hue or a blend of pigments that their master artists mix that are essentially the same thing, so that you can get this really cool color, which would normally cost you a ton of money for not very much. But if you want the real deal, if you're like, no, I need the real sauce. I need to know what this color is. Golden has my favorite version of it. And they call it titanate yellow. I don't know why they dropped the nickel. I'm sure they have a good reason. Golden always does. But it's PY53.
So are you saying that by the end of Acrylic April, I might have half a chance to come back, rewatch this video, and understand what you just said?
By the end of Acrylic April, you are going to know so much crazy stuff about art. It is going to blow you away. I'm so excited. Especially, look, if you're an experienced artist and this is just your first daily painting, man, it is going to change you. It is going to transform you. I did this years ago because I was in a rut. I felt like my work was super commercial. I'm not saying it's not now, but I just felt like it was really commercial. And I had a lot of trouble loosening up and getting relaxed in my process. And I did a daily painting. John remembers this. Derek was crying. And it went on, but it was really helpful to me as a creative. And I began following daily painting artists and realizing that this movement, this was an important journey for artists to take. I mean, you don't have to be an acrylic to do a daily painting. You could be an oil painter. You could be a watercolor painter. As Parker has proved, you can be an ink artist. But the point of practicing an art every single day, it creates a sense, it builds creative building blocks that are transformative. I know I'm kind of up on a pulpit here, but it's a big deal and it really helps.
So there's a lot of really good questions coming in.
I have so many really good answers. Because you guys have been, the group's been open for a while, so I've had many questions. I have so many answers.
Now, Poonam asks a super good question.
Okay.
This is one that cuts to the heart of, I think, our community. Do we need to stick to your timetable? Do we have to keep up with you?
No.
How does this work?
So here's the deal. I'm going to start painting April 1st, and I'm going to go to April 30th. Okay, there's going to be a project every day, right? And I'm going to be there with you doing that. However, life happens. And one of the things I want to say to you, whether you're doing this journey with me or you're doing it on your own, is that you do want to set a practice of working every day, but life happens. You might have a trip in the middle of April, so this may not be your ideal month. These videos are going to be up forever. You could start this journey after April. You could do 15 of these journeys and then come back later and finish the other 15. You can really make this your own. If you are coming to a daily painting practice to change things, it's really good to do it as daily as you can, but life happens and there's no point in beating yourself up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to come and knock the brush out of your hand. It's not my deal.
And we're going to do our best.
Not my jam.
Yeah, no, we're going to do our best to try to go either live or
I'm going to be crying somewhere in the middle too. I tell you right now, it's coming. I'm going to be sitting here going, I don't even know why I thought this was a good idea. Why did I think acrylic artists needed their own month? Why did it have to be me? And now I'm stuck here I'm going to be there and you guys are going to have to talk me through it. So we're going to be supporting each other. Trust me.
Ian's thrown down a challenge on me. Unfortunately, he's chosen the wrong month. I challenge you to do a large painting. You have 30 days to do it by the end of April. And I'm like, I would totally jump on that, except I'm going to be behind this computer for 30 days.
On Acrylic April, we're going to be painting every day and we're going to be painting small. And there's a really specific reason for that. You don't want to fatigue yourself out in big works. When I started my first daily painting, John will tell you, I did big paintings.
Mm-hmm.
I liked them big.
Oh, I love them big.
Big.
Big, big.
Stuff where I had to like rent a van to get them anywhere, like the big trailers and stuff. And it was like a problem to enter them in shows because they were like at the exact maximum limit.
Like Millennium Falcon big.
It cost a lot to ship. Problematic works of art. And that was really my thing because I like to work in that space and that scale. I felt scale was very important. When I began painting every day, I was good. I started out like, I'm going to be painting these little 8x8s. You don't have to do them square. You could do something like this. It's not important that they be square. It's a square is nice to hang up on your wall. So I'm painting small, and then I naturally began to get big, and eventually it was on 16x20s. You know what I was? I was tired. It's a lot. I needed to be able to do it every day. I needed to not get wrapped up and in my own head. And I got too big and I had to scale back down because it just wasn't sustainable. A daily painting is about doing things that are sustainable. So that's why there's a size restriction. But there's not a surface restriction. You could do it on wood, you could do it on paper, you could do it on artboard, you can do it on canvas. Whatever you paint on every day will be totally fine.
So maybe if I got an ATC card size painting done in the next 30 days,
you could do 30 ATCs and you could mail them with us or any other swap.
What if I just got one done?
One for the entire 30 days?
Well, I'm going to be doing all this.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm not here to tell you. I'm not going to come and again, smack the brush out of your hand. If this is your month, this is your month. If you can only do a few of the projects and you want to catch some of the worksheets and some of the information I'm going to be sharing on split primaries and how values work with paint, that's also cool.
What about
because I'm going to tell you how all this makes sense to you.
What about traceables?
Yeah, I'm going to put on traceables. I don't expect you to learn how to draw. We're going to grid.
Grid? What's that? Is that
that's where I measure out the surface on either a 1-inch or 2-inch square grid, and then I'm going to give you, for my references, I'll give you a reference that's also gridded and in grayscale, so you have an easier time doing it.
Now, when are you going to release the things like the prompts and all of that information?
So the prompts and some more of the information will come out the 25th. Many of you have been all over the website looking for early tidbits of acrylic. It's so funny. You found my homework, not even acrylic. It was funny what you found, but they're like, I found it. I was testing some ideas out. Actually, this is going to be part of a video where I explain to you guys how you'll be doing your value studies to be prepped for the next day. Because I'm not going to call it homework. What I'm going to say is like extra coloring opportunity.
Well, but it is. You will get
an extra coloring opportunity because we're going to be doing studies, right? Before we paint the night, so basically you'll have a video and I'll say, all right, here's what we're doing tomorrow. And I'll tell you the ground, we're going to paint it. And you can get one of these little worksheets and it'll have 4 little spots for you to do. You could do it in paint, you can do it in pencil, you could do it digitally where you do some value studies and start to learn how to see grayscale. Because a lot of what a painting does for you is allows you to see contrast and grayscale, and your ability to see value will change a lot for you in your painting.
So Lisa asks a good question.
Hi, Lisa.
Why grayscales?
Well, the reason that you want to see grayscales is color can be very confusing. So here is, and trust me, this took a few times. This is my particular color palette for this month in order of how dark it is valued on grayscale. Some of these colors may surprise you about where they are in their depth. These are my lightest colors. Here's my middle grays. And then back here are going to be my darker values like a black. And so being able to break paintings down into essentially 3 to 4 values, see the highlights, see the midtones, see the shadows, allows me to paint boldly and confidently. And that helps me be looser and more relaxed in my art, which is kind of a thing that a lot of us artists sometimes try to do. Is be a little more relaxed in what we're doing. And the split primary just gives me just a ton. Look at how many colors I can get. Just all the colors. I don't need you don't want to have a gazillion colors of paint because you'll spend all your time looking at your paint. You know me. I like a gazillion colors of paint. So I would never tell you not to have all the paint unless it was really important and you just don't have every paint because you want to limit your palette during a daily painting. And it will help you.
So let me ask a question here.
Okay.
So if I understand this split primary system of being able to select your middle tones, high tones, low tones will help you be able to construct a painting that will be less muddy and have brighter colors?
Say bye-bye mud. Say hello brighter colors. Say hello paintings that pop, where people just respond to your artwork more strongly. you'll find that you don't even have to paint a subject that's particularly interesting. You could paint a spoon. One of my very favorite artists, I talk about her all the time, Carol Moraine, painted a series of light bulbs. I'm so into those light bulbs. They're just light bulbs. She just dumped a junk drawer.
Interesting.
But they were awesome light bulbs because if you paint well, you can paint anything and then it becomes art. It's really cool. It's like the Duchamp principle.
Now, will understanding...
All the Dadaist fans went, yay!
Now, will understanding some of this color theory here, would it help someone who, say, has color blindness be able to understand this a little more?
If you have a limited color range in your vision, if you have some color blindness, starting to understand how light or dark these colors are can allow you to paint. And then doing the value studies will really help you, too, to see your paintings better. Because even if you're colorblind, you may be able to see value transitions. And remember, there are tools and aids to you. There's red filters, there's green filters, so you can filter out certain color and see value easier. There are a lot of tools out there. I know a lot of people that do not have a full range of color vision that paint quite well, and they're very good at value.
Now,
they're tonalists.
I'm just going to give a quick big art hug to all of our community out there who's out there fighting the big C. They're working it out. They're going to be painting along with us this month to work it out. So all you guys, big love, big hugs. We appreciate you being here with us, and we'll have your thoughts in our hearts.
Well, we're all going to be doing this together. I hope you'll come by the group and join, and we're all going to be sharing it. I know several of my friends are going to be there. They're going to, and it's, again, if you're a YouTuber, if you're an Instagrammer, if you're somebody else who's doing this, put it in the comments. Let us know who you are. Because I'm hoping that by year 5, we are bigger than Doodle Wash, that we're bigger than Inktober, that it's all about acrylic in April, and we ain't no joke.
Uh-huh.
So many feelings went into that branding.
So many. You've been waiting to give that one all day.
I have been waiting to give that one. My mom's going to write a blog for the Acrylic April website, and it's a lot about how acrylic artists can sometimes be treated as not as valid as oil artists or watercolor artists. And so that particular tagline is a little personal to me because sometimes I feel like we're treated like we're a joke. And honestly, I think we're pretty awesome. My paint dries faster than your paint. I have to be good.
Now, speaking of your mom...
I'll have months of blending time.
Are you going to have... I should say, are there going to be other guest artists in Acrylic April?
There are. So I have invited some of my friends to be featured. We have a form if you want to be a featured artist, and I'll make sure I put that up in the comments after the video is over. But basically, I want this to be about our community. So you know how it's like, my friend Stephanie says, like Parker started Inktober, but it's like everybody's part of Inktober. I want this to be our acrylic community. So yes. There will be many guest artists, and I hope to have artists that I don't even know participate. I hope that people go out there like in Inktober, like in Doodle Wash, and they make it their own journey that's in their own sphere and their own experience, so it just ripples through our community and helps raise and elevate acrylic as the substantial and serious medium that it is. It really is no joke. It does everything. It's incredible. And who else paints with liquefied kind of plastic stuff but us? Okay. No egg temper for me. Actually, that's pretty hard too, so respect to egg temper.
No, it's all pretty good stuff.
So there's a lot of stuff. If you're with me, you'll be getting like worksheets and things. I've got a lot of homeschool moms. If you're a homeschool mom, there's going to be worksheets that you can give the kids. This is something you can do with your kids. We have a lot of extra supplemental material, so when you have questions, I really try to answer that for you. And they can do these worksheets too. You just print them out and be like, hey, grab your pencil or your 3 charcoals and do some value studies. The canvases shouldn't be too pricey. If you're doing like your beautiful color wheel, you're going to print out our beautiful color wheel. You can get this Strathmore inkjet paper, which is pretty cool, that you can watercolor on it and acrylic paper on. So that's a cool, fun thing if you wanted to put your traceables on that, if you wanted to do your printouts and fill them in from there. I have a grid sheet if gridding is not your friend that has a little cheat guide so you know where you're going to grid. So whatever paint you're using, you can do this with. It doesn't have to be my palette. But whether you're painting with me or not, I highly recommend this as a practice that you take on because it will help you a lot.
Now, Bethany was concerned. She's a brand new artist.
Hi, Bethany.
Is this going to be okay for people who've never painted before?
Yeah, it's going to be okay for people who've never painted before. Because here's the thing, Bethany.
How is that possible?
How is that possible? Because one, I'm going to explain the heck out of it. I'm really good at that. I've taught like 40 million people paint. I don't know how many views I have on the channel now. I really am getting quite good at teaching people remotely. So what you're going to find is you're going to have traceables. So you don't have to draw. And all the steps of it are going to be explained. And you're going to be doing the value studies. You're going to be doing the work. The materials are simple. And I'm going to be every day teaching the lesson step by step.
No, we're going to try to shoot for similar times every day.
Yes, in the morning. I'm thinking between 11 and 12.
Now,
that was a question Nikki had, is will we be the same time every day? There's a couple scheduling bobbles, but for the most part, I'm thinking noon.
We have kids.
Central Standard Time.
Yeah, so we have kids, and we live where we work and do our best most days, and that's why we're here.
It'll be like you at home at your kitchen table trying to just get some painting time. It's us too. We have the same thing.
Yeah.
But thanks to our Glam Studio Makeover, we have a door.
And they love your background.
Thank you. I love building it. It was just like a real special moment for me.
They thought it was just, they think it looks really, really good.
I got all the flowers. I just kept sending John back. I'm like, and more flowers.
Yes. Our
See, this is like, look what art can do for you. You can make a step and repeat
we
wall.
fully raided the local Michaels and just were like,
just cleaned them out. We're
the
like,
flowers.
Boom. So I've got these are the Artist Loft 8x8s. I've shared the Arteza link up there. I'm going to be using like 3 brushes. So Nikki, I did catch your question, which is like what time we're going to try to do consistently during the day, probably 11 to 12, depending on the kids. I'm going to be using one of my cat's tongues, a Cambridge Bright number 8, and a number 4 round. I don't know if I have it out here, but I have them all over the place because I have a gazillion of them. Here's the deal on this. If you don't have a cat's tongue, you can use a filbert. If you don't even have to use a filbert at all, you could just use any bright that you have. You don't have to use the materials I'm having. Success isn't about necessarily perfectly copying everything that your teacher is doing. Success is about sitting into your experience and really hearing the information and finding your way through. So when I say to you guys, do some value studies, sit down and do some value studies because you're going to get a lot of value out of the value studies.
Uh-huh.
If I make a suggestion to my fellow artists, again, it's your acrylic journey, so I'm not going to take the brush out of your hand, but I do recommend, if you've never done it before, work small.
Now,
You don't want to end up in the middle of a big canvas crying on a Wednesday because it'll happen.
Ghost Hostess had a good question here.
Ghost Hostess, it's been so long, Mr. Girl.
She was saying, now to clarify, we don't have to paint the lesson featured that day.
No.
So we could just take the lesson knowledge.
So the rules are simply this. Start painting April 1st. Repeat daily until April 30th on a surface smaller than a 12 by 12. Share it online with the hashtag Acrylic April. And there's a couple other cool hashtags like Acrylic April 2019 and Acrylic April It's No Joke if you are very hashtaggy and have a sense of humor. I learned that from my friend Claire and I've never gotten over it. I'm still a complete goof with my hashtagging. And you just share that online and that's all you have to do. And you can come in the group or you cannot come in the group. You can be here with the lessons or not be here with the lessons. You can do some prompts, some lessons. It's just really about you creating a sacred practice of painting every day. If you've never painted every day, you cannot imagine what it's like. It is a real thing. It's like, look, I'm not saying it's as hard as like an Ironman journey, but it's really hard. I haven't done an Ironman, so I don't really have a basis of how hard it is.
It's an iron brush.
It's an iron brush. You're going to, somewhere along the way, you're going to question everything that got you to the moment that you're in, hating the current thing. I'm dropping extra videos about acrylic painting if we've never painted before. So a bunch of extra supplemental stuff. So keep watching the channel. Those are going to drop to help the beginners and also to help maybe some of the more experienced artists refresh on some basic stuff they might not know. We're going to talk about like how these are created. You'll have those printouts. I don't expect you to freehand them in yourself. And again, we have tons and tons of files and resources about alternates and substitutions, right? Like, your red, you could do Pyro Red, you could do CAD Red, you could do CAD Red Light, you could do Hansa Red, you could do Hansa Red Light. You don't have to do the weird vermilion that I'm doing.
All right, so
it's just the closest to the naphtha red I was looking for. You see, it's right like here, so it's the red I wanted.
So you got about 30 seconds to say goodbye if you want to do a half-hour show.
Okay. Is there any last questions before?
Oh my gosh, there's so many questions.
All right, give me a couple more and we'll be close to a half hour because we were late.
All right.
How's that? Is that fair?
Oh, they'll keep you here as long as you want to stay. They
a
have
few
lots
more
of
minutes.
questions.
Just give me a couple more questions. I'll try to answer them because I don't want to leave anybody wondering, and I want you guys to get out there and spread the word. It's free. It's here. It's for everybody.
Okay, so Terry is like...
you can make a video about it.
She's like, am I supposed to be this stressed out? I'm a little panicking right now.
Why are you stressed out?
Yeah,
I guess that's my question. There's a lot of reasons to be stressed out at the beginning of a daily journey. Like, can I do it? It's a lot. Am I going to be able to make that time sacred?
Well, let's talk
Am I
about
going to
that.
be able to get everyone to leave me alone for the hour that I've set aside for my painting? You know, there's a lot that you're going to be feeling. And the thing is that all you have to do to be a winner is just try.
Can I say something
I know
about
that's goofy,
this?
but it's really true. Yeah.
I love beginnings. And you know this because beginnings are that time where everything is super unknown. It's super scary, it's exciting, it's there's so much unknown, but you know there'll never be another beginning for you. So enjoy this time.
This will be your first time daily painting. It won't be your last, but it'll be your first. And so, yeah, really enjoy this time. And it's a little nerve-wracking. But again,
okay.
my whole thing is about catching your back and being there for you and making sure you get through. And remember, you know, if you don't have this specific yellow, you could just have hands of light and you'll still have a great painting because you're going to be learning about the value of paint, like how light or dark it is on the grayscale. And you're going to learn a bunch of fine art terms that you don't generally learn in art school, but I'm going to make it super duper easy and accessible so it's not going to be alienating in any way. You're going to be like, oh, wait, I totally get hue, color, tint, tone, shade. Yes, I get it now. Been working really hard on the secret life of color and bias and how that impacts our color mixes.
Are there any fees?
Free.
Free?
Free. I don't want to get like content ID by that company, but free. I mean, you have to go out and buy materials. I don't buy your materials for you. And, you know, however you choose to do that. And
click on the links in the description down below to help us with those affiliate things.
Yeah, that's always helpful. I try
good.
to do affiliate links and stuff like that, but, you know, and I always let you know when they are.
Yep. We have some brushes.
We got brushes. We got affiliate links.
Yep.
We got stuff. It's
But
cool.
that's it.
But for you, you don't have to buy my paint through my affiliate link. You can totally shop a sale.
Yeah.
You could go all golden. So many people that paint with me are not going to back off their golden or Holbein. That's not going to happen. And they're going to use the colors that they can get from those paint lines and not move from that. And I don't blame them because I did color charts in every paint and it is a joy to paint with the golden. But I knew a lot of kids would be painting with us. I knew a lot of families were going to be painting with us and first-time painters. And I wanted to give an example of a quality paint that wasn't going to break the bank.
And you should try more things. And this is French.
And it's French.
So
it's very French. It couldn't be more French. It's from like,
France.
Where's it from?
It's from Brittany.
Brittany. It's from Brittany. I can't remember the region it's from. It's from Brittany, where the castles are and the medieval stuff. It's so
like,
cool.
Yes, I'm like, there's
and
no
you can
better...
like literally go to Paris and buy paint from Saint-Laire still just the same way that like Degas would have gone and gotten his pastels.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, same thing, same hanging, same spot, hasn't even moved. Really cool. So there's some history here, which is kind of really cool. But really what it is the packaging is really smart. I'll tell you if the caps are small. So if you have like, hand issues, you got to make what's right for you. But I really liked it. I did test them. This is the color chart I made with it. So you get a real sense of the color you get. Is it as pigmented as the pro paints? No, that's why the cost is less.
Right.
But it's quality. That's my point is like, there are some paint lines that are like Amsterdam and PBO has some good colors. There are paint lines that make a good paint that don't just like cost so much money because they recognize they can just not use cadmium and then it's cheaper.
In a student paint, you may have to have a couple coats.
You might have to have a couple coats. This is not so bad, but it's not as thick. That's all it is. But I did a test with it, tested it. I mean, like, look at this. Like, this is it put out thick, and you can see the coverage is just fine.
It worked out, yeah.
I wouldn't put a Sharpie under it. That would be really hard to cover. But this isn't the Sharpie test. This is the daily paint thing, which doesn't require you to scribble on your canvas with the Sharpie. So not required.
Yeah.
Everybody who paints a lot knows what I mean, and they're laughing right now. And you will be laughing too by the end. Do you love our color wheel? I love our color wheel.
Melissa would like to know if she could buy her brushes. No, you can't buy her brushes, but you can buy ones like them in a store near you.
Yeah, they have them online. They're online all over in all the online art stores. You guys can tell each other all the place. Basically, I encourage you guys to just find sales and get them.
Yes.
You're not buying them directly from me, thankfully, because we're terrible at shipping. But I don't pack and ship these or anything. They're made by Silver Brush Limited, who's like my longtime brush company, like before I ever knew them.
Yep.
And we designed these together and worked on these together, and they're like we're everywhere, like all over the world.
Texas Art Supply on Main.
Yeah. Here, just
Hyatt's,
locally.
Michael's, the Brush Guys. There's
Hazel's, Jerry's Art Rama. I think Dick Blick might have them. King's Art and Frame in Canada, Jackson's in the UK, and many other. There's a really cool store in Romania. She's constantly getting them into new stores. If you don't live here in anywhere that we have them, you can go on her store finder. And if you have an art store, she'll sell you her brushes. She's really into it. That's like her whole thing. D Silver. She's the owner of Silver Brush. That's how that worked out. D Silver. Okay. Question? I heard buzzing and then no more questions.
I know. I have to check here. I think it's kids. Okay.
Oh.
So why is the brown so shiny and the other one's not so much?
So brown is shiny and the other one not so much. Well, here's a fact about acrylic paint. When you paint with different pigments in acrylic paint, they will have different matte or gloss, and that's why sometimes artists choose to varnish at the end of a painting, is to unify the matte to gloss nature of the paint, because some pigments tend to be shinier and some pigments tend to be more matte. And that is true in all the paint lines unless they specify finish, like where it says I'm satin finish, I'm matte finish, or I'm gloss finish. You in one paint line can have a variety of matte to shiny surfaces in your paint, and that could irritate you, but it's easily fixed with varnish.
Gotcha.
Pigment be like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Pigment be crazy.
Pigment, well, that's something we're going to cover this month.
Mm-hmm. Pigment is crazy.
This Acrylic April.
It's Acrylic April, all about acrylic and how, like, it's harder to make acrylic paint. Everybody can make oil paint. Make watercolor paint. This is super easy.
I'm going to
hard to make acrylic paint
I hope
correctly. You can mill some pigment into some polymer and call it paint, but to make it correctly, it's really challenging.
It takes some skills.
It takes some skills. There is some stuff going on. I'm not saying you can't do it, but when you read online what you actually functionally have to do to make a good acrylic paint, you're like, whoa, well, that requires some stuff.
Yeah.
Very simple to make the oil paint. Just know it right there. Very simple.
That's good.
A little glass thing.
All right. So, okay, we can go on. I think
just go on and on. So listen, if whoever you are, however you're doing it, hopefully, check out all the different people that are creating. I hope this becomes a thing. I think the acrylic community is amazing. I really believe that. I think you guys are versatile. I think you're diverse. I think you're innovative. Every type, every style of painting is welcome. So whatever style of painting you're in, if you're fluid painting, you're welcome. If you're abstract painting, you're welcome. If you're hyper realist, you're welcome. If you're street art, you're welcome. Whatever style of painting that you're doing, if it just abstract expressionism, I could just list them off endlessly. I'm just going to say all of them are welcome. All you got to be doing is working in acrylic paint, but all are welcome at all levels.
All right.
Because inclusion is awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, I feel like I've really covered it.
Yep. If you're bound in polymer, we're going to see you next month.
There'll be a short version of this video up at some point.
You're right.
But, now you have the Q&A, so you know some things. Go by and check out the Facebook group. You can join it and share some stuff. It's very cool. We're going to be here for you. You're going to be here for me. I'm sure by mid-April I'm going to be crying, so that's just part of the journey. Expect it.
Yes.
It's a roller coaster.
We'll be here. Supporting you, Sherpa.
You guys support me, I'll support you, and together we're going to get through 30 days of tiny little aggravating paintings.
I look forward to it.
Boom, boom. I'll see you guys really soon. Be good to yourselves. Seriously, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other, man. Go out into the world and be kind. This place is getting crazy. Show it how nice it can be. And I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.